Okay, we're going to finish out this lesson talking about bases, exponents, now roots. So here we have 3 times 3 equals 9. So that means that the square root of 9, because this is 3 squared, so the square root of 9 is 3. 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. So 3 to the third power is 27. So the third root of 27 is 3. 3 to the fourth power is 81. So the fourth root of 81 is 3. See how that works? The root is how many times a number, or the root of a number, I should say, is that number, the same number that can be multiplied together that many times will equal that number. Sorry, I know that's slightly confusing. Okay, so the number 3 is the only number that if I multiply it by itself 4 times equals 81. So it's the fourth root of 81. Now let's look at something interesting with our negative signs. We know that 3 squared, 3 times 3, equals positive 9, just like positive 3 does. And negative 3 to the fourth power equals positive 81, just like positive 3 does. So how do I know what I'm asking for when I have the fourth root or the square root? Because both 3 times 3 equals 9 and negative 3 times negative 3 equals 9. 3 to the fourth power equals 81 and negative 3 to the fourth power equals 81. So which one do I want? Well, I use a negative sign to let me know. See, here I have nothing in front of it. It just is there. But here I have a negative sign in front of my radical sign. So that shows me that I'm looking for the negative root. So here the negative square root of 9 is negative 3. The negative fourth root of 81 is, let me erase that so I can make more room, negative 3. Okay? So you know based on the sign that's in front of your radical sign. Let's talk about those names for a minute. So this little sign here, this doohickey, is called your radical sign. This number that's right here, if there is one, is called the index. If there is no number, like here, it's understood that you're looking for the square root. So the number that multiplied by itself equals that number. Like 2 times 2 is 4. The square root of 4 is 2. 3 times 3 is 9. The square root of 9 is 3. 4 times 4 is 16. The square root of 16 is 4. Like that. This number is the radical, this sign is the radical sign, and inside the radical sign we have the radicand. So radical sign, index, radicand. When we're looking at a radicand, if your radicand is positive and it has a positive number in there, then you know that its answer is going to be positive. If you have a negative sign on the outside, you know that you're looking for a negative number. But the only time you're going to have a negative sign on the outside is if this index is positive. Excuse me, not positive, is even. Even, okay? The only time that you can have a negative root is if your exponent, your index, is an even number. So you notice that? 3, 2, let's try that again. Sorry guys, I'm really struggling. 4, 2, 4, 2, those are even numbers. So you can only have a negative root if you have an even number. Now, even and odd numbers can have a positive or a negative radicand. So here I have a positive radicand, 27. Its cubed root, the number that multiplied by itself 3 times equals 27, is 3. We know that. Okay, how about the cubed root of negative 27? Negative 27. Well, I know that that means I'm looking for a number that when I multiply it together by itself is going to end up with a negative number. Since this is an odd number right here, I know that I can have a negative that I can have a negative number, because a negative number being multiplied an odd number of times, 3 times, 5 times, 7 times, you get a negative answer. So I know that this is going to be negative 3. Negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. Positive 9 times negative 3 is negative 27. Okay, I know that sometimes this can be kind of confusing. Your book is not going to really ask you to choose whether something can have an exponent or not. Your book is just going to give you your problems. So this is the pattern to understand. If you have a negative in front of your radicand, that means that your root is going to be negative. You're looking for the negative root. If you have a negative inside your radicand, your answer will also be negative, because you're going to have an odd index out here, so that means that your answer needs to be negative so that it would come out with your negative number, your radicand. If you have a positive number on the inside and no negative sign on the outside, your answer is going to be positive. That's all you really need to remember, okay? Okay, so let's practice a little bit. The square root of 64. What's the square root of 64? Positive 8, because positive 8 times positive 8 equals 64. Nothing that we really need to play around with our negatives. The fourth root of 16? 2, because 2, when multiplied by itself together 4 times, gives you 16. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16. Negative square root of 81. Well, the square root of 81 is 9. So the negative square root would be negative 9. All right, pause now and do your practice. Okay, you should be back from your practice now. Letter A would have been positive 4. Letter B, negative 4. Letter C, negative 35. Excuse me, negative C, negative C. I'm struggling today. Sorry, let's try this again. C is negative 30. D is negative 35, and E is negative 11. If you have any questions about those, just let me know, and I would be happy to help you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.